Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining for today's session. We are here today to understand where to publish. Your research deserves the best. So this is what we are going to learn today. Before we go ahead so I hope you are able to hear. There are some emojis which is available for you guys. Please try to use that. And for example, there's one emoji which I showed. Yeah. So I want you to be as interactive as possible. We have 100 plus participants, so I want you to be as interactive as possible so that it will be interesting for all of us to go through this workshop. So having said this, so let's start off with the workshop. So I'll be dealing with the workshop. I'll be telling you many of the aspects which I've learned over the years for my research, as well as being in technical co-sponsorship team of IEEE Bangalore section. So let's start. The small introduction about me is I am Dr. Abhishek Appaji. I work as associate professor in Department of Medical Electronics, and also I'm R&D coordinator at B.M.S College of Engineering. And in IEEE, I work as treasurer of IEEE Bangalore section. So what we'll be covering today is a very important one. So we'll see what is journal publishing cycle and what are the types of research articles which is usually seeing. And many a times we fall into a bit of predatory journals. So that is also something which you have to be cautious about. And we'll see where to publish, tools and techniques. What is Web of Science, what is Scopus indexing, and publication metrics. There are many terms which we'll be using, and then what is a paper structure, citation references we'll see, and what are the tools for publishing. In between, I'll be switching the windows to our tool which we'll be using for our polls. So I want you also be with me so that you are able to do talk about some of the things. So first poll I want you to go is, where should you go for the poll? I want you to join, go here and join. I already see 67 of you have already joined. So go to this link. Let me copy the link and this one. I don't know. Can you remove the customize pop-up? I don't know what it means. Yeah, 77 of you have joined. I see that there are almost more than 100 people who are part of the session, 134. So please, all of you go to this link and wait there so that I can post you some of the questions. And I want to know some perspective about you guys. Okay, we have 87. As soon as we reach 100, I will start the polls for you. You can drag and drop your, so I'm able to view, I'm logged into other device, so I'm able to view everything on my screen. So please ensure that you are also there. So drag yourself in the PPT, it will be easier for you to see whatever slides I'm showing. I'm able to see everything perfectly on the other device. Or double click on that, you should be able to see that as full screen. Okay, okay, fine. We have 100 people. The first question I would like to post is this. Yes. So why should we publish? What do you think? What is the reason why should we publish? The question is, why should we publish? Responsibility to contribute towards scientific progress, fame, recognition by your peers, promotion, helps in grant application, research funding, so on and so forth. New scientific ideas can be openly discussed, criticized, tested, accepted, or rejected. This is poll. Please remember, it's a poll. It's not that your answer is correct. All the answers are correct according to me. If you ask me, it's all of the above. But let's see what maximum people say. Good. Come on, there are 107 people. Please go to the link and you should be able to see the pop-up. There you have to click on that and say submit. It's not just that you will go and you'll do it. You have to just go there, click and say submit. You've gone here, for example, once you go to this website and you have to just click on one of them. Say, for example, if I'm clicking on this and you have to click on submit. Without that, you won't be able to see. I hope you are able to see the submit button at the bottom. Yes. Please use emojis judiciously. You have to keep on using it. So once you do that, you can say answer is submitted and you can close and wait for the next clap. Okay, fine. So before we go to the next one, let's understand a few more things. So why should we publish? I agree that we should publish because it is our responsibility to contribute towards scientific progress. As a teacher as well as researcher, we can use nowadays synonymously the teacher and researcher. And all, of course, I need fame also because I need recognition from my peers. It's very important that all my peers should recognize. So many of them, I get an email from many of my colleagues abroad who just see my paper and email me saying, hey, listen, I saw this paper. It's really interesting. Can you tell more about it? And also, especially it helps us in promotion. I got promotion because of my publications, grants and all. Grant applications, research funding, your publication is very important. Next is new scientific ideas can be openly discussed, criticized, tested, and accepted. So all are correct. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go to the next few slides, and then again we'll come back to the same website to understand. So as I said, all the reasons are correct. If you see this particular emoji and this particular here, they are sitting in the graveyard. They said he didn't publish, so he perished. This is not at all a new one. This exists long back. It's 1992 picture. It's not the new one. So understand publishing is very, very important in our life. If you are a researcher or if you are in industry or in, it's something a way of disseminating your information to your peers who are working in the same field. Okay. Before we go ahead, let's understand the process of how the publication will happen. I am sure many of you would have published your paper by just sending an email to some of them. For example, you would have sent to something journal at gmail.com. So of late, most of the reputed publishers, they have their own manuscript central portal where you will submit your papers in prescribed format. So let's take some random journal. So let me go. So I'll be using Google a lot. So please bear with me. So what I'll do is let's go just a couple of days back, one of the paper mine got accepted here. Yeah. So what you will see here is, see, this is the paper which mine got accepted. So as soon as you go to any journal, first thing is you should go and see what is the aim and scope of the journal, all those things. But whenever you want to submit an article, must and you should be going and reading this guide for authors. Unfortunately, many of them don't read this. They just go ahead and submit full paper, and in the early stage by some editorial office itself, you'll get the rejection. Please read this very carefully, at least few times till you get hold on how journal publishes and all. And once you go here, you'll be seeing each and everything, what kind of articles they accept and what is that you should be doing, what is the declaration of interest, and so on and so forth. Okay. Ensure that you read all these topics presented here and you see whichever is appropriate, pick that up and then do it. Next is, if you want to submit a paper also, they won't be just accepting right at this point of time. They'll be having another portal known as Manuscript Central or Editorial Manager, and there are many other things where they'll directly go here and you have to log in and then submit the details. Okay. So similarly, you take any IEEE transactions as well. IEEE transactions on image processing, for example. So I took IEEE transactions on image processing. If you go, this is the actual IEEE transactions on image processing. And if you want to submit manuscript. If you go here, you will get to know what is impact factor, all those things, and then what is about the journal, what is aim and scope, see all those things. And mainly important thing you have to see is submission guidelines. What are the guidelines which is required for you to submit? Read each and everything about this. This is very important. And there is also IEEE recommendation tool. I'll come back to that. So these are some of the things which you should be reading, all the things which are is present here. And next thing is, once you are comfortable with understanding all those things, then you can go ahead and submit your submission guidelines is there, submit your manuscript. It will take you to some other page where Manuscript Central, and you have to log in with your IDs and then say login, you will be able to do it. Or you have to register yourself with some details and you should be able to do it. So very importantly, please understand, you should be able to access these things very judiciously. Okay. So what is the process which we will follow in this this kind of any such kind of journals which you use? So first thing is, author will see the guidelines which is already prescribed by the journals, and then they will come up with author manuscript will be given to journal office, where there'll be editor office, some of the assistants who will sit and see if it is as per the guidelines of the journal. They'll see if you need not sit and do it in two, many of the journals, you need not sit and do it in two columns, one column, or as per their format. That those editorial office or journal office will do it. But main thing is they would see that you have already done properly the references or number of papers or number of references, or even abstract is structured or unstructured, and so on and so forth. If you have done properly, it will go further. If not, they will reject it to the, if you have done properly, it will go here. If not, they'll reject and they will revise. They'll ask you to revise and resubmit it. Again, it will go through this process. After that, academic editor, the editor will look into your paper and see whether it is fit to go to peer review. What do you mean by peer review journal? Say, for example, if you take IEEE transactions of image processing, all the people inside that IEEE transaction who are readers are of image processing expertise, authors are image processing expertise, and then even editors, everybody is image processing expertise. Okay. So what you will do, the editor will see, okay, this is novel, looks interesting, I guess it has to undergo peer review. Then the editor will give it to peer review. They'll assign to random 3 to 4 reviewers. And then once the reviewer does everything and he or she checks the paper, give reviewer comments, and finally you will get some details from the editor. And this process really takes 2 to 3 months. And if it is very famous journal, it may also take 1 year. So minimum 6 months is what you should be having the bandwidth, where you submit, then the reviewer sees, and there will be 3 reviewers or 2 reviewers minimum. They'll give some feedback. Some of them goes into pages. Some of them says, yeah, it's really good, but these are minimum changes. And then that is sent back again to the author. Even till now, your paper is not accepted. Later, once you do the corrections, which is known as rebuttal sometimes, you do the corrections, the reviewer would have given you some questions. This is not addressed. Repeat this experiment. Do this something else. This is not talked. This paper is not referred. They'll give you some points. Point-wise, you have to answer them saying, yes, I did that. This is where I'm reflecting in my revised manuscript, and you have to resubmit to your journal. Once you resubmit your journal in the same portal, and then finally it gets accepted if everything is good, or there is a chances that it gets rejected also. After that, it will go to the published category, and then revised history is published, and you will have the paper. Remember, not all the paper will have access immediately. Some of them will go online. They'll have in press, which means that it's still in the editing mode, but you will get a rough idea of how the paper looks. Or it will be like, for example, there is a paper which is in March 2022. Just 2 weeks back, one other paper of mine got accepted. It says March 2022. It doesn't mean that it gets accepted in March 20. It is already accepted. Only thing is it's published. This is exactly same like your number plate. You know, when you go to RTO office, they'll give you one temporary number. If you want some lucky number, they'll give you temporary number, right? Then they'll say, wait for a few days. Once that number is issued, then only you have full number. If not, they'll first day only they'll give you any random number you want. But if you want any special number, you pay additional money. They'll give you only after that date. It may take a month, or it may take 15 days. It may take 2 months also. Till then, you have to run using temporary number. Similarly here, they would have published. March 1 is already published. Even now it's February, but it would have come online. Okay. So it's very important that you understand. In summarize, you submit the paper. It goes to the editor. Editor sees if it is really good, or it is at least relevant to the journal, and then sent to the peers. Peers will see, that is reviewers will see, give some feedback. After that, they'll again send it back to the editor. Editor will again convey to you saying these are the changes. You do the changes, again send it. Okay. So this is the process before publishing. Okay. So this is the same thing, which is different formats. You can see the slides where I'll be sharing it later. Okay. What are the types of articles or publications you will be having? One of them is letters. Letters is rapid communication or short communication, which means that you can write a letter to editor saying, I found this article somebody has published and this is interesting, but these are my comments. You can oppose, or you can even say this is good, but they should have done something else. That is known as letters. It is also known as short communications. Sometimes if you find some really interesting work, but you don't have complete analysis, but you have very minimal analysis, you can write one rapid communication that is very few. For example, it's one reputed conference, they give rapid communication abstracts, gets published. All those things comes under letter. Next is full article. Full article is original article or research articles, which means that it should be full paper. You should have done proper research, collecting data, for example, did the analysis, did statistical analysis, published it, and things like that. Or you have designed some deep learning algorithm, you have already collected data, you have applied deep learning algorithm and then got the efficiency or some accuracy, and then you say this is good, and it is full article, research article. Whereas review papers is something you would have done. There are again two types of review papers, systemic review and regular review. You just take bunch of papers, pull in according to something, and then say this is the review. Another one is systematic review. That's again a huge topic to cover around. You would do some analysis, you will use some tools to categorize many of them. When will be systemic review useful? For example, I have done a research on say diabetic patients. So in India, I've done diabetic patients. There it says diabetes affects kidney. Somebody else in Australia, they would have done the same research. They said diabetic doesn't affect kidney. To come up with actual conclusion, you have to collate all of them, like all the samples from all over the world, and come up with that. That is known as systemic review. You will do some meta-analysis and all. Okay. So if you are interested, that can be covered more in some other session. So which type is most appropriate for your research is, most of us, we try to publish in original articles. If you're a PhD student, if you're faculty, you'd be more interested in original articles. Once you become expert, you have so many papers, then you are pioneer in that field, then you will go to review papers. But somehow you are also encouraged to write review paper for your thesis in the starting stage, because you will understand what review is. But getting it published is really tough job. Original articles is easier. Consolidating and giving some perspective of multiple articles is really tough. That is review paper. Okay. Some of the frequent mistakes which we do. Okay. What are the reason for rejection is some of the out of scope publication. I showed you in the journal, right? It says about the journal or scope of the journal. You should be always seeing scope of the journal if it is gives. For example, image processing, it may exclusively have said we don't accept satellite image processing. That you should have checked, but you still send a paper, it will get rejected immediately. Next thing, unfortunately, English, the way you write your English, the way you talk your English, we are very good at talking, Indians especially. But when it comes to writing, we may lag little bit. So you should be very cautious when you are able to, whenever you are able to do this kind of writing of papers. Be grammar check you do, and then you also try to do some kind of checking in terms of spellings and the way you have written, and check if how it is written in your about. I mean, they would have given some journal guidelines. Check that. Okay. And then next is not addressing all reviewer comments and suggestions. That is also something which you should be checking. And submission of rejected papers without revision. If somebody has rejected, then if you're submitting again without revision, that also leads to rejection. Next important thing is salami slicing. For example, what is salami slicing is, I have one paper which is exhaustive. What I'll do is, if I want more number of papers, for my increment I need 3 papers, or my promotion I need 3 papers. What will I do? Same, which can be published as single paper, I will cut down, and I will, instead of for example, one, if you know about machine learning, deep learning, I can use one algorithm. I can publish 3 algorithms in the same paper. What I'll do, I'll use the same data, publish first algorithm in one paper, second algorithm in the second, third in the third, and fourth paper I'll combine all 3 and compare them and publish. That's known as salami slicing. Salami slicing is cutting down the paper into multiple papers. That is also not okay. And then requirement of structure, the way they want your paper, you won't be doing that one requirement you are not able to do. And then is submission to different journals. This is a common mistake which I've seen. You would have already submitted to some journal, and then later you would have given submission to some submission to some other. So international, IEEE transactions and image processing, and then IEEE transaction and medical imaging. So you would have submitted both of them simultaneously. Whichever gives me first review, I'll go ahead and do it. This happens very frequently, especially in conferences, which is not at all okay. But fortunately, it will so happen that all the tools which we have, like Turnitin, Authenticate, and so on and so forth, it has this capability of finding out if you have done parallel submissions. So please don't do that. Next is plagiarism. Plagiarism is also a very, very common thing which we see in people doing this plagiarism, especially if you are naive person, you don't know about research and all, you just copy paste somebody's work, have so much plagiarism. So what usually journals and conferences, the first thing they do is they check the structure of paper, they see if everything is all right. Second thing is they put in plagiarism check, Authenticate or cross check, or Turnitin and many such software, and they see if you are plagiarism is less than 10, 15, 20%. And if it is then only they'll send it for review. Including putting content from your own paper is also self-plagiarism. Okay. So I got to know from chat window, I missed this incorrect reviewer suggestions. This is also one of the things which is out of your control. So two aspects of this. Your reviewer would have given some suggestion. Even I have faced this. One reviewer said you have to put this paper in the reference and you should collaborate. He mentioned a specific name, which is according to reviewer guidelines, it is not at all good practice. So while writing to the journal in the rebuttal, I wrote saying, thank you for the reviewer comments. However, it is not advised. In our future work, we'll try to collaborate is something we escaped and do it. That is one thing. Second thing is, because the reviewers, getting more number of reviewers is always a problem. Many papers get stuck because reviewers don't have time to review. And you're sending to subject expert, he's writing his own paper or he's busy with something else, he's busy with administration and all. Even I get many papers to review and I take at least 2-3 weeks time. So when we do that, it may so happen that third week I'll realize this is not in my area, but however I've accepted it. So let me write some generic review and send, and I would have made some comment which is really not possible, then it would have led to rejection. So both the points, author perspective is you haven't understood the review, or even reviewer perspective is also they would have given incorrect review or some review which they are not comfortable. I got some paper, I would, instead of rejecting, I will say, okay, I'll accept, I'll do something, which is not correct. Okay. So as I said, all these things are very, very common kind of rejections which happens because of peer review which happens. So please be cautious and do not repeat such kind of mistakes. Okay. So any questions till now, please, I request you to post it on chat window and any other things. Or you can just share an emoji saying, yeah, I can go ahead. Are you guys with me? Okay, okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, as I said, third point is something which I used. Yeah, I'll give you the presentation and how to write the content in a review paper. I'm sorry, that's not part of this. Maybe we'll do one more workshop on exclusively how to write review paper. And somebody is asking how to out of scope submission. Yes. So what is out of scope submission? Let me show you the demo of it so that it's easier for you. I will show you, say, IEEE transactions. I'm just taking image processing because everyone will understand. So once you go here, yeah, so once you go here, if you go to about the journal, they would have given some topics. For example, IEEE transactions covers novel theory, algorithms, architecture for the formation, capture process, and so on and so forth. Application includes so and so, so and so. And if you're submitting anything beyond this, beyond the scope of this journal, they'll outrightly reject it. Okay. So whenever you're submitting, please check all these things in each of the journal. Or you want to take some other journal, say Springer journal, something on image processing. I'm not sure what kind of journal. Yeah, so there is a journal, signal, image, and video processing. Here also, they really say it's a journal is a interdisciplinary journal which has so and so, so and so. It says high-level research in engineering development, signals, and presenting practical solutions and all. In this, what you do, you submit some instead of signal, image, and video processing, you send some architecture of some your chips. That is not permitted here. So outrightly, it will be rejected in the starting point of your review. So please be cautious, read this, and then submit accordingly. That's what I meant by okay. So okay, there are so many questions. I'm not sure. So what I'll do is just park your questions. I'll try to cover this up before 7:15, 7:30. Then we'll have a lot of questions only this. So I guess that's a good idea. Just a second. Let me share the presentation again. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the slides. Next thing I want to discuss about is what are predatory journals. So predatory journals are the journals where we unknowingly we start publishing it many of the times, but knowingly people won't publish in predatory journals. Even I was also part where I published predatory journals before. So what do you mean by predatory journals? It are journals which doesn't do any these things. So if you see okay, if you see the animation on the top, here if you see, you have to jump lot of things. Peer review will happen, revisions, rejections, all those things, and finally you will be able to publish. But if you see predatory journals, it's like they welcome with you with a red mat and they'll allow you to publish. You have to just pay some random fees and then do it. Please remember, processing fees different or open access fees different from what it is on predatory journals. Okay. So who publishes predatory journals? It is inexperienced people, lack of experience. If you don't have a good quality paper, just publish some random place, and then susceptible research. Unknowingly, you will do it, and these are common people who publish it. And journals that charge for review or publication are predatory journals. Not for, there are few journals who just charge for open access, and that will be very, very high. For example, there are few journals which charges $2,000, 1,000 euros, 2,000 euros, 3,000 euros, and all. And journal that charge for review or publication, and predatory publishers collect an estimate of 75 million fees from authors, and many of them fall into pit of it. And then 900 plus publishers have been identified as potentially predatory journals. So how will I know if it is predatory or not? Is there is someone, one of the person few years back, he came up with a list, Bell's list of predatory journal. Let me show you that. So if you see here, just a second. Yeah. So if you see here, this is Bell's list. Unfortunately, this also is been stopped because there was a lot of hue and cry because of this journal, how authenticate, who is he to do, and all those things. But somehow this is kind of updated. You see, there is a huge list of journals. And how this predatory journals they come up is they'll write similar name. For example, there may be IEEE transaction on medical imaging, then they will come up with saying medical imaging transactions. So something like that. So you should be very cautious, and they'll use all these are predatory journals. It's a huge list. You can just go to the Bell's list. I'll put on the chat window for your reference. And then you can go ahead and check this journals where you are not supposed to publish. And please remember, this is just a list. It's not exhaustive list. There may be more than this also. Okay. And then there's also update and all. But however, this one is also not up to date. So what happened was there was another one which came, which is known as, okay, this is not working. But you know, UGC Care, especially if you are in India, there is something known as UGC Care which came into existence. What is UGC Care is, what is UGC Care is there are two kinds of list here if you see here. This was established by Savitribai Phule University, and UGC has given them all rights to do this. And what you do is the UGC Care has two groups. First group is Group 1 and Group 2. What is Group 1 is, these are the journals which is recognized by UGC and say that it is kind of good journal. Whereas UGC Care 2, Group 2 is something which is recognized, globally recognized databases. There are two very important databases, even if you go for NRF ranking or your IQ, I mean your NAC accreditation, NBA and all, they'll be seeing if it is Scopus index or Web of Science index. Okay, we'll talk more about it very soon. So if it is in that, either Scopus or Web of Science, it is known as Group 2, which you can see on the screen, right? And which is not in Web of Science or Scopus, then it is Group 1, but it is still considered as good journal by UGC. This was done by the research office at Savitribai Phule University. They have done by itself. But there are few journals which are again cloned by just varying their one word or one name. They have come up with Group 1 and Group 2. So please ensure that you don't fall into pit of this. This is also another way of seeing if your journal is good or not. Or you can just say you have to log in and then do it. I already have login. I won't be showing it to you, but you can just see it's very easy tool which UGC have developed. Okay, but still I'll show you some of the techniques and try to please publish in journals which are UGC Care list 2, which is nothing but it is either from Web of Science or Scopus. I'll let you know how to identify it is Web of Science or Scopus. Okay. So another one is, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So tips for identifying predatory journals, how do you find out? So somebody is asking, can you repeat Group 1 and Group 2? So Group 1 are the, okay, WebEx is little, okay. Yeah. So Ramna Reddy sir, I'll get back to you, but to answer Dr. Jamil's Group 1 and Group 2, Group 1 are the ranked journal which is not in Group 2, which means that UGC thinks that it is kind of good. They have their own metrics. You can go in detail in this website and see what is the metrics they have used, but it is still okay. But I strongly suggest that you go to Scopus or Web of Science, which is Group 2. Anything under Scopus recognized journal or Web of Science journal is Group 2, whereas anything other than that is Group 1, which has some kind of definitions which UGC had told that this is good or this is not good. Okay, so just think of that and we will see. And next is, maybe I'll not make full screen because I have to go online and offline. So yeah, so what we'll do is, what are some of the tips for identifying predatory journal? Unsolicited request for submission. If I get tons of emails every day because I publish in some good journal. I get tons of it for people to submit articles. Please don't respond to that. You find, I'll show you how you can find out a good journal. Next is send manuscript by email. That is also not advisable. I was showing you Manuscript Central or editor access portal and all those things. Use such kind of portal. No address or contact information apart from email. There are few of them where I find that there are people who just put an address. So I stay in Baswangudi in Bangalore, and I've seen people just putting it in uh, I've just put some address in Baswangudi, and when I physically went there, there was nothing as such as journal office. So please check the contact if it is legible and all. Email IDs are suspicious. They give you some Gmail random email IDs or Yahoo, and they accept within couple of days. You submit today and you accept it in the same day or a couple of days, maximum 1 week. That is also suspicious. Peer review process, they haven't given submission guidelines. They haven't given. There is no peer review. Also, you just submit anything, they'll publish it. And check for some random published articles. Also, it is very important. Check if it part of DOJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. See if there is a fee for review or publishing. It is not for open access or article processing fee. It is something else. They are charging you money. All these things. There is another one which is very nice a nice website which is known as thinkchecksubmit.org. Let me also put this in the chat window for you to pursue it further. Think, check, and submit is also another tool where you have to think what you have to. Are you submitting research to trusted journal or publisher? Next is check whether it is a good journal or publisher, and submit only if your checklist satisfied. This is also something which you can think of doing it. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so just check that if it is part of think, check, and submit is something which you should be checking. So this is very nice way of dealing with journals, and this is also one way where you can think of such kind of activities. Okay. Next thing is there is also another one which I would like you to check is yeah. Before that, let's go back to our poll and see the next question. You would have already logged in somewhere. Just check, have you published in any predatory journals earlier? I just want you to check and let me know if you have published in any predatory journals earlier. So I answer one, I have published it unknowingly. Knowingly also, there are few people who have published, which is not okay. Okay, it's good to know that many of you have not published in predatory journals. So don't pay money, 3,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, and then publish. It's all journals which will bring down your credentials. Okay, it won't increase. It will bring down your credentials. Okay, fine. So let's go back to our next question. Sorry, next slide, which says, so how do you choose a proper journal? So best way is I'll just show you the direct demo. So first thing is, if you want to find out if it is Scopus index journal or not, okay. As I said, you try to publish. So one of them asked the question, is Scopus good or Web of Science good or SCI is good? So let's go in the presence, which I see that Web of Science is good journal. So how do I know Web of Science is good journal or not? Yeah. So I'll open all the links for you before so that it's easier for me to explain. Okay. I have different login where I'm able to have more access than what you have. But this is one of the best way to find out if this journal is good or not. Okay. So just go here and check this thing. Yeah. So just check this. This is one of the link where you can find out if it is good journal or not. See here, this is there are 24,930 super good journals. Okay. It's really very good journal, and they are good journal in your field. For example, if you are a mechanical engineer, I want to do something on thermodynamics, and then search. So you'll get all the 80 plus journals are there related to thermodynamics. All these journals are there. What you have to do, just go and Google archive for thermodynamics. It will tell you. Next thing is I want to know, say, if I'm working in some area of deep learning. So I want to find out if there is any good journal in deep learning. You get 233 results. Okay. So you will get this electronic journal of e-learning and all. You should be little more like maybe more generic, saying machine learning or something. Then you'll get proper one. See, machine learning is one journal and all. So there are only two very good indexing as per global standards, Scopus and Web of Science. What I am showing you right now is Web of Science. And many of you may ask, SCI journal, is it good or not? See, SCI doesn't exist anymore. It is SCIE. What is SCI? Science Citation Index Expanded. What you can see on screen. You can see this, right? Science Citation Index Expanded is SCIE, which is SCI journal. SCI has become SCIE from few years. And they, if you see that, if it is let me clear this, and then if you see here, there are 24,930 journals. If you want to know if it falls into Q1 to Q4 journals, then you have to go here and then toggle the switch, so it will reduce to 12,000 journals. More than half of almost half of the journals come in Q1 to Q4. What is this Q1 to Q4 is, I'll let you know in few slides, but it is this 24,000 is really good. In that, even more better one is 12,000 journals. So for example, in B.M.S College of Engineering, we practice something known as, we start giving incentive if you publish in the super good journal. There are only 12,000 journals in all the fields where we want our faculties to publish. As soon as they do, I approve their incentive and they get their cash incentive. If they're publishing in other journals, they won't get anything. So people try to publish in very reputed journals. That comes into 12,000 journals. Okay. And then, no, somebody's asking, is ESCI and SCI are same? No, it's not the same. See here on the left side, you can see here, I hope you're able to see my cursor. So this is SCIE, Science Citation Index Expanded. This is SSCI, Social Science Citation Index. Arts and Humanity Citation, Emerging Zones Citation Index. Okay. So SCIE, SSCI, if you take this two are super good journals, which are almost comes in Q1 to Q4. But these two doesn't come in Q1 to Q4, these two. It is nothing but it is taking some time. It may be very new journal. It will take another 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, 10 years to come in Q1 to Q4. Once it graduates, it comes to better, then it will go to SCIE and SSCI. Okay. These four indexing are very important. You should be seeing SCIE journal or SSCI journal. Okay. That will really help you out to get your research. So if you publish in these journals, then you'll get citations so high that I published some 4 years back. I already have got 200 citations or something. I published in something else. It has come to. So what is Q1 to Q4? It's quartile 1 to 4. I have some examples I'll show you. So this is the best way to find out if it is Web of Science or not. So what you're getting in MJL, that is Master Journal List, gives you Web of Science. To find out Q1 to Q4, you should have access, your college should have access, your library should have access. But if not, also you'll get approximately, if you go to the journal, you can calculate whether it is Q1 to Q4. I'll show you sometime later. Next is, for example, I want a journal. This is another website. You won't have access, but I just want to show you this one. So for example, IEEE transactions on image processing, right? So I'll search this. If you go on this, it will tell you whether it is Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4. Okay. In the area, there are different categories in journal JCR, that is Journal Citation Report category. Every June it gets updated. This year it was Q1. Last year it may be in Q2. Now it is in Q1 and things like that. What do you mean by Q1? In this category of computer science, there are 139 journals. In 139 journals, you have to cut into 4 halves. Say there are 100 journals in that category, cut them into 4 halves, 25, 50, 75, and 100. The one which are in top 25, that is known as Q1 journal. The one which is in 25 to 50 range, that is known as Q2. The one between 50 to 75 is known as Q3, and 75 to 100 is known as Q4. Now, if you see 139, 8 out of 139 journal, it is in 8 journal. It is within what 25% of top journals. So it is in Q1. Whereas this one is 9 out of 273. This is also in top 25, that is Q1. So let's take some other journal. I know for sure Asian Journal of Okay, I am not sure. Let's take some other journal which we want to see is IEEE Access. This is also another very famous journal. And if you click here, see here, it is Q2. What do you mean by Q2? It is in the range. There are 161 journals here. In that, the range of this is between 25 to 50. That's why it is Q2. Here also there are two. IEEE Access comes in different categories of JCR, which is okay. And it is in 273.94. So if you cut 273 into 4 different ranges, 94 is coming, it is Q2. Whereas if you cut 91 here in 4 different halves, 36 coming in Q2. So this numbers, if you have access, if you don't have access, you won't be able to see this. You have to ask your research head or someone, or there may be someone in your college or your institute who should be able to help you out. But if you publish in Q1, it's like ultimate. You are the researcher. If you publish in Q2, you are also really good. Q3 is also good. Q4 is okay. But if you're publishing other than Q1 to Q4, that is nothing but these journals which are in AHCI or ESCI, Emerging Source Citation Index, which means it is getting emerged. It's not fully emerged. Okay. So this is very, very basic knowledge of Web of Science. There's a lot of things you can do with Web of Science. Unfortunately, that is out of the scope of workshop. But next, let's see another one, which is known as Scopus. I mean, your college would have said, publish only in Scopus Index Journal, publish only in Web of Science Index Journal. So, is Scopus better or Web of Science better? I would say, is NBA better or AICTE better? It's like two different entities which you should be able to see. Okay. And it's not the same for every this thing. Okay. So if you see here, you want to search, go to sources and you give your journal name. And here, if you see, when you go to Web of Science, you will see there are 25,000 journals. But if you go to Scopus, it is little more diluted. There are 43,000 journals. This 43,000, there may be overlap of 24,000 in Web of Science. Okay, both of them are free website. You need not really go and do any other kind of things. Okay, so this is free. You need not do anything. What you can do is you can just say title. You can say IEEE transactions on medical imaging, for example, and then say find source. It will tell you what is the some of the scores. 97 percentile, which means it is Q1 journal. Out of 51, 97 is good or something like that. So this is what it is there, and it is Scopus Index Journal. Remember, there may be many other journals. If you want any journals, you can just go and you can go ahead. And Danu is also my colleague in IEEE. He's helping me to answer many questions. Thanks a lot, Danu. So this is one. And if you want to know whether it is Q1, Q2, here it is C. Show only top 10%. First quartile is 25%, second quartile is 25 to 50, and third is 50 to 75, and fourth is beyond 75 to 100. But there are also, if you want top 10 very good journals, you can just filter this. You will get only those top 10 journals. Only 3,000 journals are there. You just want top 10 and you just want first quartile, there is 7,000 journals like that. This is free to use. You need not do anything. And remember, the Q1 to Q4 of Scopus may or may not be same as Q1 to Q4 of Web of Science. Web of Science, Clarivate Analytics, which is the company which gives you Web of Science and JCR, that is Journal Citation Report. Whereas here Scopus, it gives us something known as, Scopus is known as, they have, one second. Yeah, Scopus has something known as SJR, Scopus Journal Ranking, whereas Web of Science has something known as Journal Citation Report. Okay, both are different ranking. They have their own metrics to follow. They see, like, for example, for impact factor, Scopus is 3 years, whereas Web of Science is 2 years, and there's a lot of differences. So, but if you're publishing in Web of Science journal, especially Q1 to Q4, those 12,000 journals, you are amazing. And even otherwise also you're good. In Scopus, whatever 45,000 journals, if you have, or yeah, 43,000 journals, still you're good. So all this, if you are using either, so I would suggest you start with one of the Scopus journal. If you get confidence and you're sure your work is really good, it deserves better journal, then go for Web of Science Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. One more advantage is it is peer-reviewed journal, which means that you'll get very good review if you publish in this. They'll make your paper much, much better than what you have written originally. Okay, so let me go to the next journal. This is another one. As I told, how do you find out any other things? For example, there are other things. Now, this is just that you give title or you just say subject area. I'll say I want to publish in, you can just select these concepts here. I want to publish in AI, then apply. It will give you only AI journals, which are 287. This is also one of the way, but there are many other kind of journal finders. For example, you can still go to another journal finder, which is known as IEEE Recommender. Okay, this one is really super good if you want to publish an article either in a conference or journal. For example, I want to do it only in journals, so I call it as periodicals. I'll say image processing. It will give you some of the things, and then I'll say get recommendations. It will tell me which are the journals I will use for these things. These are like topmost journal. Image processing, I told you, medical imaging is again 10 impact factor, and so on and so forth. Okay, but I want either conference or journal. I don't mind. I want both of them. Then it will list me all the relevant journals here. 204 journals are there in the area of image processing. There are 684 conferences which are happening very soon. It can be ISIP, which is one of the famous signal processing society conference, or it can be 2023. Or you can also say, I want different kinds of filters. You can see which country and things like that. Or you can show them, you can also see the map here, which will tell you if you want to go to some particular country and do the presentation. Say, for example, I just want it in India. See here, India, how many conferences are there? This is somewhere in Shimoga. This is somewhere in this one, and this is somewhere here. This is somewhere in Pune and all. No, I want to travel to some other country, for example, US. So US, there are some conferences. You can just play around and find out a best conference where your paper gets accepted. Okay, not accepted, can be published. This is both if you take periodicals and conferences. Periodicals includes transactions, letters, magazines, everything. And whereas conferences is purely conference, which are approved by IEEE. So I want to bring to your notice one of the famous conference which happens in IEEE Bangalore section, which is known as Connect. Yeah, I guess Chengappa also will be pasting the link where this is also one of the conference which we do in IEEE Bangalore section. Yes. If you are interested, the call for papers is still out. I am part of the committee. It's done directly by IEEE Bangalore section, and it's super, super cheap if you want to. I mean, it's very economical. If you're a student, you get a lot of discount if you submit before your deadline. Okay, just check this, and all the papers published which are accepted and presented in the conference will be forwarded to IEEE Explore for possible publication, okay, which will ultimately go to by default in Scopus index and things like that. There is also many awards of 20,000, 4,000, and track-based, academia, industry, and so on and so forth. Just go ahead. Literally, you'll be having the discount is so less because we are very easier for us to manage because we are operational unit, organizational unit, IEEE Bangalore section. And another thing is, if somebody is asking, full form of IEEE is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, but all engineers, non-engineers are welcome to become member. Yeah. So there is difference between, there is somebody is asking difference between journal and conferences. I'll just tell you in some time. So just park your questions and we'll spend a lot of time in answering questions. Another 15-20 minutes, I'll wind up and then we'll have question and answer. So other points you should be remembering is publication standards. Check the timelines, check the editorial committee, check the peer review. Another way of seeing is quality of the conference, quality of the journal. What is the impact factor of the journal? Go to the journal and see what's the impact factor. Or if you have access to JCR, go check there if you have good impact factor. Compare with other journals of same topic. How can you do this? There is a tool for that. I'll just show you in a minute. Then diversity, see the editorial member. Are they very localized within India, within Bangalore, or is it regionally diverse, or is it regional audience? Many people are, you can also check where it is published. Is it published only by Indians, or is it published only by other all over world and things like that? This will also help you to find out if it is good journal. You should also be familiar with the publishers. There are many famous publishers. For example, IEEE is there, B.M.S Central, Cambridge, Elsevier, Springer, Oxford University Press, Sage, Time, Taylor and Francis, Belay Publishers, Emerald Publishers, ACS Chemistry of Life, Cambridge, and so on and so forth. Walter Kluwer. All these are very famous publishers which are available in the world. So I'll show you one of the recommender. See, again, if you want to publish in Springer, each of the publisher have their own journal suggestor. So yesterday I was in some review of one of the PhD students. Their guide was suggesting do it in Springer, do it in Springer. So just go here, put the title, manuscript, and put what area you are in, and then suggest journals. It will tell you some concepts. You can just fill this form and see it. No, I don't want in Springer. I want in Elsevier. Elsevier Journal Finder is there. You just go here, click on this. You will find you have to put some of the things and then find the list of journals which is related to your field, and it will tell you which one is where you have to publish. If not, you have something known as there is something known as Jane Journal Journal Author Jane Journal Finder. Okay, journal author name estimator. This is also one. Or Adance is another tool. This is also a very good tool for journal selection. Yeah, see, this is the one which is Adance. So you can just search the journal, put your field abstract or field of research. I work in the field of neuroscience. And then I'll search. It will give me the list of journals which are good for, okay, for example, I want in education. It will give me the list of journals, and it also has impact factor. They'll classify, is it indexed in SCIE, that is Web of Science? Yes. Impact factor, do you want only medium or high, and all those things, and you can do that search again. Okay, so these are some of the things which you should be knowing. There are many journal finders. If not randomly you want to do anything, just go and say journal finder and like that. Each publisher has their own journal finder. For example, see here you have Wiley, Springer, Taylor and Francis, and then you have Adance. Journal Guide is also another very nice one, and so on so forth. IEEE also has, as I said. Okay, this is one of the way. There, many of them also, if you see Journal Guide and other such, you can also, it will give you some of the comparison also. You can say, okay, you got this foundations of machine learning. It will tell you what's the impact factor, what's a publisher, open access, speed for them unknown, or for a few of them not known, image. And Scopus SNIP is Scopus source normalized impact per factor that is there. And you can also see I want to compare this with this journal and this journal. Then I can compare these journals. If I give, it will give me a table of comparison. Whether what's the impact factor? This is 1.6, this is 0.9, and this is 1.57. So better I go with 1.57. Responsiveness, publication speed for few of them. LC is good permission, submission URL is there, whether it is Scopus, Web of Science Index, all those things you'll get to know. Okay, this is the easiest one of the nice tool you can use. You can use any of the publication recommender or journal suggester, journal finder, all these are same. Okay, so yeah, as I showed, this is the IEEE one, how you can use. This is Adance I was talking about. Journal selector, Jane is another one, journal author name estimator. And then you have journal guide. Yeah, okay. I've showed you these things. Yeah. Next thing is somebody is asking a question whether WS and SCIE are same. So Web of Science is kind of a tool which I showed you here and here. It's by Clarivate Analytics is a company, and Web of Science is kind of indexing. And in that, SCIE is one part of it. As I said, if you see here, SCIE is Science Citation Index Expanded. And another one is Social Science in Citation Index, Arts and Humanity Citation, Emerging Source Citation Index. So these are 4 indexing which is there for you. So please see this, that these are different indexing or coverage under Web of Science. Web of Science alone is not something which you should be seeing. Okay. In that indexing, as I said, SCIE and SSE are super good journals. Okay. Next thing, what is journal citation report? Journal citation report, Web of Science comes up with a report, which I was telling about it. Maybe I'll just show you how journal. So somebody is asking, is there any ranking or grading of journal finder tools? All journal finders are good. You can go ahead. But I personally use MJL, Master Journal List, and then I'll say that it should be having impact factor. This toggle button I'll use, and I'll see that it is SCIE or SSCI because it's super good journal. So I use this only. Yeah. So another one, if you want to see impact factor, how do you find the impact factor? This is done by what is known as Clarivate Analysis for Journal Citation Report, which is usually published in June, around the time frame of June every year for the previous year. So 2021 June it published for 2020. 2021 will be published in June 2022. So if I want to find out the impact factor of one particular journal, it will take journal impact factor of 2020 is 2019 is nothing but citations in 2019 to items published in 2017 and 2018 divided by number of citable items in 2017 and 2018. So its previous 2 years it will take divided by number of publication which is citable. That is nothing but. So if I have published, if my paper, if the journal which I'm referring in that there are 50 citations which has come up, and I have published in the number of published papers are 100. So 50 by 100, that is 0.5 is something which is impact factor. If there, for example, here, if you see past 2 years, it was 496 divided by number of citable items is 14. So impact factor is 35.4, which is very huge. So this is how impact factor is done by journal citation report. But Scopus does differently. Journal, some of them they do differently and things like that. Okay. This is, I have already showed you. Yeah, somebody was asking about Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. As I told, Q1 is nothing but top 25% in journal impact factors. They classify according to impact factor and fields. See, for example, if you're working in computer science, getting citation is very faster. So impact factor also increases very faster. So if 50 impact factor in computer science is very tough, in maybe some mechanical engineering, getting 50 impact factor is very tough. So that's why they categorize according to field. As I was showing in this other one also, see there again it's category which they'll do. Computer science, electrical engineering, telecommunication, in that category, number of journals are different. So if you are looking at some journals which are Q1 in, you should be seeing that don't see the impact factor. Impact factor is one of the way, but based on impact factor and based on field, it is done in Q1. So 25%, 25 to 50% is Q2, 50 to 75 is Q3, and 25 more than 75 to 100 is Q4. Q1 journals are super good. Even sometimes you would see Q1 journal has impact factor of 4, 5, because in that particular field, it's very tough for us to publish. I was giving this example. There is also places where if you say Journal of Engineering and Energy Engineering, you would see Q4 and Q3. In this civil engineering, it is Q3. In fuels, energy and fuel category, it is Q4. So it depends on the category also. Okay. So let's go to another tool, which is Google Scholar. I don't recommend you to use Google Scholar to say yours is good or mine is good, because Google Scholar, it doesn't really find out which is good or something like that. So what you can do is I will say Scholar research Newton. Or who was there in my slide? It was Albert Einstein. Yeah, so I'll go Google Scholar, Albert Einstein. So see, Albert Einstein, he had published, even now also he's publishing, you won't believe, 2018, though he was not there, but there are some people who have published in his name. So if you see number of citations he has got is 1,46,000, which is like super heavy. And then H index is 118, I-10 index is 372. But what are these indexes you should understand? So if you see here, what is H index and I-10 index? So see here, this table, if you are able to see on the right side, what is I-10 H index is, take all the publication of an author. In this author, check, rank them according to citation. See, first publication, he has got 70 citation, next is 12, next 6, next is 5, 5, 4, 4, and all. And see if rank is equal to citation. 1 is equal to 70, 2 is equal to 12, 3 is equal to 6, 4 is equal to 5, 5 is equal to 5. Yes, 5 is equal to 5, which means that 5 is the H index of that author. So check number of, you rank them according to descending order of citations and match them according to citations. Here 5 is not equal to 5 is equal to 5. So H index of this author is 5. But what is I-10 indexes? At least each of them has 10 citations. So does this have 10 citation? Yes. So this has 10 citation. Yes, it has 12. Here it is 6. So I-10 index of this guy is 2. So only 2 publications has 10, more than 10 citations. Okay. That is I-10 index. So which means that what is I-10 index of Albert Einstein? At least 372 journals which he has published has so much of citations. Give some random name, maybe someone IISC, somebody from IISC we can pick up. See the citations what they have. I don't know who this is, but just see, which means that they have 839 journals which has more than 839, more than 10 citations. And H indexes, they have at least 186 publications in which at least 186 citations are there. That is H index. Okay. So you can just check 81 papers have at least 10 citations. 33 publications has at least 33 citations. Okay, that is what it means by H index. Okay. Next is, as a researcher, once you have sufficient, at least 2-3 number of publications, you should have at least something known as ORCID ID. Okay, so go here, ORCID ID, and then you can register yourself. It's good to have ORCID ID. This is more like when you see your publication, they would have mentioned that, hey, you have your ORCID ID there and things like that. Okay. Next is Google Scholar. You already know, I've showed you. Scopus, I've showed you, and Web of Science also I've showed you. Okay. Okay, just to see if you're already there, let's go back to the poll and let me know if you have any of these IDs. Oh, answer should be multiple, I guess. Come on, people, go to the website and see if you have one of these IDs, or which is the first ID you created in this. Okay, you guys have, right? Only 30 people. Where are others? Why are you not answering? Okay, many of you have Google Scholar and Orchid ID, which is good. If you don't have Scopus, please go and create your own profile of Scopus and Web of Science author profile, which is known as Publons. Go and create that. Yeah, it's not taking, I didn't said that, I'm sorry, it's not taking multiple option, but yeah, you can select the one first which you created. You don't have anything, then it's a time. If you have published at least 1 or 2 articles, please create all these profiles. This is very important as a researcher to measure how good you are performing. Okay, fine. So the last one which I want to show, as I said, plagiarism is another one, which is a very important thing which we usually do is without knowing. What is plagiarism? Using a source too closely when paraphrasing. You just paraphrase it. You use some tool like Spinbot and something, and you structure your own writing, which is not good. And copying somebody's work without citation is not good. Reusing work you have done for earlier assignment. Self-plagiarism is also not ethical. Working with other students to complete an individual task. Buying or stealing somebody's work is not good. Paying someone to do your work is also plagiarism. If any of these things are there, then it's very bad. So there is something known as banned author list of IEEE. It's called Prohibited Authors List. Even in IEEE, please prohibited. So if you go in this website, you will see there are few authors who are banned, and there, in case somebody sees your paper in that, in this prohibited authors list, then you won't be able to publish. Okay, so that requires login and all, but it's not open in public. But there are very stringent policy by IEEE and all the publishers, not only IEEE, that you don't put yourself into plagiarism. So please don't do plagiarize. I know many of them do without. See, this two common mistake in researchers is without knowing you'll go and publish in some random journal, predatory journal. Without knowing you'll do plagiarism. These two things are something which you should be avoiding. Okay. The last one is these are the authors. You have three kinds of authors: gift author, guest author, and ghost author. What is gift author? I know my HOD, I know my principal. So what I'll do is I'll just gift my authorship to please him. That is known as gift authorship. Guest authorship is not earned or partially earned. So you already, they wouldn't have done anything. You know, you just want to please someone and they'll come and write. That is known as guest authorship. Ghost authorship is this is guest is more to, you know, impress someone. You want to impress your friend, you want to impress your teacher, you want to impress someone, you just put their name. Next is ghost authorship is someone who has really worked on it, but you don't put their name. So all these three are authorship abuse. Please do not practice that. Next, there are multiple tools which are available for you if you are trying to publish. So just check this tools. I'll post it in the chat window. Just check this. You'll get a lot of packages from IEEE, which is really good and helpful for you. Okay. Next is there is something known as reference manager. Okay. So what I'll do is I will. Okay, just a second. I will just pause my. Okay, let me resume and go back to the slide. Yeah, there's something known as references. References is very, very tough for you to write it, especially if you have 30, 40 references, your guide would have told to change and all. There are multiple such reference manager available. I use EndNote because it's again by Clarivate Analytics and all. So I use EndNote, but it is paid one. I have access to that. So please forget about it. But there are multiple free version, like for example, Zotero. Mendeley is also another reference manager, excellent one, and Paperpile and so on and so forth. For ease, I'll just use Paperpile. For example, I have used this as my paper. I'll write my abstract. As you know, abstract won't have any references. Then I'll go to introduction, for example, in my paper. So I'll start writing some. So I just copy paste something and do it here just for reference. This is plagiarism, the one which I'm doing. Please don't do this. This is just for demo I'm showing. Now I want to cite this. Okay. So what I'll do is I have an add-on known as Paperpile. How do you find out add-on? Just go to Google and say Paperpile add-on extension. That is available even your Google Chrome. Then go ahead and install this extension. Add to Chrome if you say, or add to your this thing. If you want in your add-ons, just go get add-ons or manage add-ons. You will be able to take this Paperpile. Okay. Once you have this, what is that you should doing in Paperpile is go Paperpile manage citation. Start coming something here. So what is this I'm talking about? I'm talking about plagiarism and things like that. So I want to search papers with plagiarism. Plagiarism. So I'll see papers with plagiarism, and then I'll search here by putting my keyword. I'm sorry if the fall on your screen, but on the right side you're able to see, I guess. This is nothing but plagiarism. I want to cite this. So I'll put my cursor here and then say cite. I have cited here. Next thing is here, I want something, I've written something on, for example, I've written something on machine learning, and then go ahead, search here. I've got some papers on machine learning. I'll go and cite it here. It will come here. Okay. Next is I'll write something here, and then I want to cite something here. I want to cite my own paper. So I'll say Abhishek Appaji, and then I will search here. Yeah, see, this is recent paper which I published, which is 2022 published. So I'll just put it here and it has come here, citation. Now I've completed with all citations, but I don't want in Chicago format. There are multiple formats how you can cite, right? So I want it in, say, for example, APA format. I just change this. It will change, or I want it in something else, IEEE format. So I'll go to more styles, click on IEEE, save. And this one is not changing to IEEE. Before that, I want the references to be listed at here. So what I'll say, I'll click on update citation and biography. So you'll see the magic what will happen. All the citations, it will go and it will come here. See here, all the citations have already been pasted here. All three citations are here. These are in IEEE format, and see this also changed in IEEE format, right? Okay, I don't want in IEEE, I want in Harvard. And then again, I say update all those things. You'll see that it automatically gets updated to Harvard style, both this citation as well as this references. Yeah. Okay, so somebody wants to repeat, I'll add one more paragraph. See, already I've cited one paper here. I want to cite one more paper here. Cite one more paper here in between. Okay, so what I'll do, I want this paper, my old paper, which was in 2019, to be cited here. I just click here and then see this has not come here, but you will see there are only 3 papers here, right? It will become 4 papers once I click on update citation. See, it became 4. So there are few questions. How do I find out paper file legal to use? Yes, very much legal to use. No illegal stuff I'm doing it here or teaching it. I haven't taught you anything illegal till now. Please go ahead and use anything you want. There are many such software. One of them, which is Google Sheet related, that's why I use. How to get reference with DOI according to Springer. I'll tell you that later. And somebody has asked, if you have local paper which is safe. That local paper, you know where it is. Say you have paper of my paper somewhere, you have it here, paper, deep learning or something. Then you have this, all my papers here, right? So what I'll do is, I'll see here, okay, this is the title, right? I just copy paste the title and put it here. And then this is the paper. I just click on cite and it will cite. Okay, this is super easy. Once you start doing it, you will be able to understand easier way. So another one which I wanted to show was, so this is one of the easier way to do it. Okay. Paper file is free or licensed. Yes, it is free for whatever version I'm trying to use. There are many such. If you go here in this site, you'll find out many such softwares. EndNote is paid. Mendeley is another best one. It is desktop based or web based software. Because I already have EndNote in my desktop, it will have conflict and I can't be using both of them together. So I haven't showed that. So just check this website, you'll get, yeah, see the tons of such softwares. See, Paperpile is what I used. See, there are many of them which are free. Paperpile, you have very limited one which is for free. Okay, these are the things. You can just go ahead and check which one is good. Okay. So yes, so what I'll do is, I'll summarize and then I'll go back to your questions, what you have asked. So we saw a journal publication cycle. To summarize, the editor, you submit a paper as per the format of the journal or requirements of journal. It goes to editor. Editor sees, the editorial office see if you have complied with all the conditions or the instructions, and then they'll accept or they'll again say resubmit it. Then it goes to editor see if it is good scope of the journal, if it is something deserving in your in the journal. Then it sends to the reviewer will see that and see that, hey, this is really good. They'll give you comments, they'll send it back to the editor will see and send it back to you, and then it will give you some guidelines or some changes you have to do and resubmit it back. Then later, what you have to do is, you should also uh, once you submit the rebuttal, then they'll say, yes, this is good, this is not good, and go ahead. Next is identifying types of research article. I told you one is research article, review article, letters. Those are major categories. Identifying predatory journals. Bell's list is another one. Think, submit, think, see and submit. There's that thing which I was telling. What was that? Think, okay. Think. Think, check, submit is another one which is very famous one which you can use, or Bell's list is another one. Next, I told you where to publish, where you can publish. You can publish some tools, journal finders are many of them, which are the tools. Then Web of Science and Scopus indexing, I have told you, publish always in Web of Science journals which are indexed by Web of Science, in especially Q1 to Q4, which has journal citation report. Or you can also publish in Scopus. Scopus, again, one more thing is SciMago is another one. If you want to know whether it is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, in Scopus, not in Web of Science, that you may not have access, but in Scopus you'll have. You want, for example, one of the recent one which I published, is it Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4? You just click on this journal. SciMago is another tool. It will tell what is H index of the journal, and then it will tell you whether it is Q1 or Q2 or Q3. This is in Q2 journal. Okay, this is Q2 journal. I will also paste this link for you guys to check. Okay, and then yeah, publication metrics. I told you impact factor, quality factor, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Paper structure I didn't cover. It's basically how you write your paper that most of you know. If not, we'll do it some other time. Citation and referencing, I told you how you can cite using paper file and similar such kind of tools. And then tools for publishing. Okay. Advantage of this paper file and such things is it's very easy. You do anything in between, it will automatically take care of everything. You need not sit and do. Another very interesting tool I want to show you is on the top right of my screen where I'm putting my cursor. Check this hat kind of thing. Okay, I'll show you. Say for example, I'll go to Google Scholar. I'll put machine learning algorithms, and here if I go, I can click on cite, and then it will give you my papers. For example, yeah, see this one. I put on cite, and it will give you what kind of references I want. Okay. MLA, APA, Chicago, or you can put it in BibTeX, EndNote, Refman, Refworks. You download and upload in your own tool. Or another way, what you can do is there is a small hat kind of thing. For example, I'll go to some paper, this one. On the top right in your toolbox, there is known as Google Scholar button. Okay, you can see it's very small icon maybe on your screen. On the right top, you see. Click on this. And then you see already it has captured. You click on this, you will be able to see. This is very nice tool for you if you want to reference, put it somewhere and things like that. Okay, it's called Google Scholar button. Google Scholar button. Okay, just check this. This is really interesting one to do. Okay, so I have covered most of the things, and what I want before we close is the last poll, and then we'll go. What is the new thing you have learned today? Are you guys there? Chengappa, can you hear me? Okay, okay, good.
Yes, we
Paper
can.
pile, yeah, paper pile. Just let me know. I'll open up one more tab where you can put your questions so that yeah, just put your questions here so that I'll be able to cover. Because going back to such a huge chat window is really tough. Please put only questions, not anything else. I want you to put questions. How to cite paper? So how to cite paper is a wrong question. You have to just, the way I showed you citations, that's how you do it. Okay, I guess you still are in your previous question, which I asked. Okay. Fine, this is not working. Anyways, last one I want to ask you is, okay. What workshop do you want next of similar kind? Do you have any suggestion on what workshops you want something similar? Then after this, I'll start ahead and I'll start and ask you questions related to, I'll ask questions. I'll answer all your questions. Research paper structure, somebody wants some image processing. Image processing about thesis writing, okay. Tools, research paper structure, plagiarism, checking workshop tips, tools, tricks, frame a paper with example about thesis writing, open access publication, wireless communication, research papers for machine learning and AI. Image processing, robotics, research paper writing, editing tricks. Journey for first time paper, research paper on security in big data. Are you eligible to write review paper if you have many years of industry experience but no PhD? Yes, you can go ahead and write. Nobody stops you from writing if you don't have PhD. Structure of paper writing, medical image processing, research paper on security in big data. Okay. Systematic review survey paper, methodology checking in thesis. Okay. Okay, keep posting your questions on the chat. So let me dig out the latest chat. Okay, PPT links you want, right? The PPT which I use. Let me share the link. So, you want my slides? Please check the link in the chat window, which gives you some slides. Okay. Okay, let me take questions from fast publishing journals in Scopus SCI in the area of image processing. I'm really sorry, I don't know fast, but if you want quality paper, fast is something you have to compromise. Quality journals, so that is something which you should be knowing. Next is suggest some free access tools to write paper and thesis. I gave you some IEEE journal writing, so that is one. And somebody is asking how to improve quality of published papers for NIRF ranking. So that's a very good question. NIRF ranking is based on two important things. One is where you publish and whether your publication gets citations. Citations automatically comes very good number of citations when it comes is when you have very good published in very good journals. As I said, please concentrate on Scopus and Web of Science journals, especially Web of Science journals. Even in NRF, they give more weightage for NRF journal and not for Scopus journals. More weightage is for NRF journals. Somebody is asked, so in publish in NRF journals, make it mandatory for your faculties to publish in Web of Science journals, then obviously your NRF ranking goes really high. However, most of the parameters in NIRF ranking is relative. So you are performing, there will be thousands of other colleges who are performing, other institutes. So it's really tough. It's all indirect. So somebody is asking on IEEE open access publishing or open access publishing. The concept of open access publishing is something which is, so you pay money to get published after acceptance, not for review. So for a journal to run, there are two. One or the other person should pay. One is you pay as an author, or another one the institute or your college pays. If you are paying as an author to get published, and which is very high money, which is $2,000, $1,500, $1,000 minimum you see is $1,000. So which is very tough for us to pay. So many of them they use the research funds to pay if they have already provided. or they will request for, can I get a discount? Can I get a waiver? There are many journals, if you're from countries like India or otherwise, developing countries, they do waive off if the journal feels like, but that's very rare. So that's also something. Is there subscription model for publishing? Yeah, Krishnadas is asking very interesting question. Yes, as an institute, you can approach like Elsevier or Springer and ask them that we will do this many open access publishing. Can you give us some discount? That is there, but that's a huge money, huge money. So Europe, it is there, US, it is there, but it's a huge money. I'm not sure if your institute will agree to pay that kind of proportion. So what is the difference between publishing directly in journal and publishing in journal through conferences? Yes, publishing in journal directly is always preferred. Conference, you apply in conference, they say only 30% similarity can be there. More than 30 is not allowed. That is also a good way of publishing. Okay. So can you suggest some free plagiarism checking tool? Unfortunately, I don't know. Urkund is something, Urkund. Urkund is one of the tool which is used. And if you are a university, then there'll be one contact. Go to Urkund website and find out which university you are in. And if they have subscription, that's the free one. If you are from Karnataka, V2 has subscription, you will get this as part of it. If you are publishing IEEE conferences, if you are a conference organizer, you have access to cross-check, which is super good publication, super good plagiarism checker tool. Next is, can you suggest some free? Okay, what is difference? Okay, is there subscription? Okay, can you suggest some tools like Origin? Okay, I'm not sure about it. MDPI, a good journal. Yes, MDPI is a good publisher. But the only thing is they are very expensive and not open access. Many of them don't have subscription of that. So what is advantage of IEEE member subscription? So membership, you get discounts in your conference. You are able to talk to major thing which I see in IEEE is networking. You're able to talk to many of the professors globally as well as locally, and you get to attend events, you get discounts, you have access to some of the journals if you're part of some of the societies, so on and so forth. Some references are not shown while importing citations using Mendeley into LaTeX. Why? Oh, that's something which you should ask Mendeley, but most of them are there. I'm not sure why it is not visible. Maybe you have to update your citations in your Mendeley or do something of that kind. How many words are considered for plagiarism for thesis and journal? So thesis usually 25%. That's what many of the universities says. You can do 25%. Is allowed because there'll be some common things. And for journals, it's strictly around 10 to 15%. More than that, also sometimes it gets accepted. But it all depends on that particular journal. Conferences, 20-25% is something which they'll ask. Good journal accepting survey papers. Oh, okay. That again, you have to use a tool depending on which field you are in. Then you can use survey papers. You can just put the topic in Edans or Journal Finder, one of them which I told you. You can check there and do it. Anything else on the top? Can I cite my own paper? Of course, you have all the liberty to cite your own paper. Whenever we do analysis of an author, there is a possibility that I exclude citation of self-citation. Plagiarism self is not okay, but self-citation is absolutely okay. And whenever I can do analysis of yours, I can just click on that box saying remove self-citation. It will remove and it will tell me what your citation is. Then self paper be first reference? Yes. Who told it's not correct? Is it compulsory to publish 2 SCI papers to get PhD degree? Okay. If you are talking in B.M.S, if you are a student of B.M.S, PhD student, yes, we have mandate for all the students who are submitting thesis post 2018. You should publish at least 2 Web of Science journals, either Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Difference between engineering letters, short communication, and journals. Yeah, journal is full length paper most of the times. Engineering letters are letters which usually write to the editor or someone. Short communications is part of letter. Either it can be short communication, rapid communication. So many of the times there will be a conference, they want to publish an abstract, they send to rapid communication. And short communication also, you write very one-page letter and something which you want to comment on article, comment on your own work. You are not ready with your complete paper, then you can send it. Any other questions? We have 145 people. Let me see if there are any questions on top. Most of them I've answered, I guess. Okay, somebody wants to write. Somebody asked about salami slicing. Yes. What about any ideas that come after submission of paper? See, salami slicing is very, very. You already know it's a one full length paper, but you're splitting into paper. If you don't know, you get idea later. That's a different work. You already have done work, but writing paper, you write 4 papers. That's salami slicing. There is a question. What is Ieee Access? Ieee Access is a journal which is one of the journal, open access journal of IEEE, which comes in Q2. Is impact factor preferred over Q1 to Q4? No, impact factor is with respect to that particular journal. But if you see Q1 to Q4 is something which is Q1 to Q4 is for different category. If you're working in civil engineering, the category Q1 may have impact factor of 4, but if you're in computer science, Q1 may have impact factor of 20. So impact factor is for that particular journal. It doesn't see which field you are in. So if you're a faculty of civil and mechanical, you go for an interview for promotion. If they have to see who is better, they see Q1 to Q4 rather than your impact factor of your journal. If you are published in Q1 in civil and Q1 in mechanical, then you both are equal. If you're published in Q4 in civil and Q1 in mechanical, then mechanical guy is better. Okay, they won't see impact factor. Yeah. So somebody's asking, can you suggest a free tool like eDraw? Yeah, eDraw. Inkscape is good. It's really good. Equivalent to Corel, not Corel. What is that? Photoshop. That's good. Initial phase of research, if I want to publish a good review, is it worth it? And how do I write it? I heard that it won't get accepted. Yeah, review paper, usually it should be very, very exhaustive to get accepted in good journal. So you will get experience over the years on how to write review paper. But check with your guide, with your university, if review paper is considered as contributing chapter for your thesis. But many guides, they insist you to write review paper just to get your experience, but we are not sure whether it is whether it gets accepted or not. That's really tough at the initial stage. Please show light on good journals asking for open access charges. Yeah. So maybe I have to share my screen again. Yeah. So you want to go to, I showed you MJL, right? In this, you want to see whether it is open access good journal or not, which accepts money, and you are ready to shell out huge money. If you don't have any source of funding, then you go here and there's one more toggle switch here which says supports open access. Okay, and then you want it super good journals, then that one. So you can publish in this 1882. You can say I want to publish in computer science. You have 1800 journals which are open access, has impact factor, where you can go ahead and publish. See, here only you will get one open access, one tab or one logo on the top. So you can go ahead and use that. Okay, where is my chat button? So what are the other questions I have? So what is your opinion on publishing original work in conference, whether it's good or not? Yes. So if you have really good, see, conference, the concept of conference is for people who want to discuss their work, get some critical review and things like that. So it's very tough. See, conference, the concept of conference has gone from few days, but why do you need a conference? Is to discuss with your peers to see if you're going in right. So if you have some partial results, go ahead with conference. If you want have very good results, then go ahead with the journal paper, because journal, more number of people will refer, it has more impact and it is considered better than conference. But conference also, there are few conference, it's very tough to get your paper accepted. How to add paper pile? Go to add-ons, custom manage add-ons, and then add paper pile to your Google Sheet. How to access open access in Scopus? So if you want to see open access in Scopus, I guess there should be a tab I am not sure. Let us check. So this is Scopus. Go to scopus.com. In that, go to access, go to sources, and then see here if you have, yeah, see here, left side, you'll have display only open access journals. Then you go here, you'll get only, there are 5,463 open access journals. So go here and click on this, you should be getting only open access journals. Okay. And then, is book series a journal? No, book chapter is different, book series is different, it's not a journal. Which part of research work we can go for book chapter? So book chapter is for your thesis, I don't suggest you go with book chapter. Get some experience, then write a book chapter and then get it published. How to access PDF full IEEE paper? Your college should have subscription, or your university should have subscription. That's the way you should go. IEEE Explore published as Scopus. Yes. So anything which comes in IEEE Explore will be sent for Scopus for further review, and if it is good, it will go to Scopus indexing. How to check on Scopus indexing of the conference proceedings? No, Scopus index of the conference proceedings you cannot check. Only thing you can check is if it is a flagship conference, check the previous year paper whether it has come in Scopus indexing or not. Can you please arrange session on guidance for MTech and PhD students for publication from basics? Okay, Nivedan, where are you from? Which college? Are you from B.M.S or some other college? Nivedan, which college you are from? Okay, Ramaya. So check with your research head. Dr. Sriram is heading the research. So talk to him. He should be able to arrange. Or if you want, you can invite me also. I can also come and talk to your students. Yes. Any other questions you guys have? No questions? So submit